So the younger brother got up and went to his father. But while the son was still a long way off, his father saw him and was filled with compassion. He ran, threw his arms around his neck, and kissed him. The son said to him, "Father, I have sinned against heaven and in your sight. I'm no longer worthy to be called your son." But the father told his servants, "Quick, bring out the best robe and put it on him. Put a ring on his finger and sandals on his feet. Then bring the fattened calf and slaughter it, and let's celebrate with a feast, because this son of mine was dead and is alive again. He was lost and is found." So they began to celebrate. So the word spreads. This is going to be a community party. All the preparations are underway. The servants are prepping all the food, getting the house ready. They're killing the fattened calf, which was a big deal. This is going to be the most expensive party the father has ever thrown. Because he loves his son, he had compassion on his son. He was so happy to have his son home that he didn't care about all of the pain from the past. He put that aside to welcome his son home and to restore him as part of the family. The son had rehearsed the whole way home that he just wanted to work for the father and that he was going to apologize. But the father's having none of that. He says, "No way, Jose. You are my son, and you're welcomed back in this family." That type of lavish love and grace and mercy is crazy. But that's where the term prodigal comes from, because the son was that lavish and crazy with the money, right? Spent it willy-nilly. And the father has that type of lavish, crazy love for his kids. But let's remember that this story is just a story. This didn't actually happen. This is a parable that Jesus was telling to two groups of people. Do you remember the first week we discussed there was the outcasts that were represented by the younger brother, and then there are the Pharisees that were represented by the older brother. But what we didn't talk about is who was represented by the Father, and that is Jesus. Jesus is telling the story about himself as the Father, about God the Father, the Trinity, and how no matter which brother you're represented by, the younger one who goes and squanders away all of the finances and makes terrible decisions and walks away from the family and then comes back, or whether you're the older brother who stays and tries to abide by the laws, you are both fully welcome in the house of God, in the family of God, in the feast. And what we actually get from this story is that Jesus is talking about the feast that is to come at the end of time, at the end of days, where all the people who believe in him will be welcomed at the table. That is the type of love that God has for us, his children. And he was using this story to help the people in those two different groups that were listening really understand that. We are all welcome at the table. But that's not where the story ends. Because the older brother has his next part in the story. He sees what's happening, how there's a party, that his brother has returned, and he is not happy about it. So next week we're going to look at the older brother and how this has cost him, just like God's love has cost God.